Welcome to another episode of The Workplace, the show where we try to answer the question, can I be employed and rich? Come along with me today to meet our amazing guests as we try to find answers. The Workplace. So, sir, thank you so much for your time today. It's always a privilege to speak with you.
Same here.
I know you have a lot of story to share. So I'd like to start from you sharing your story and your journey. First, by telling us what you do, where you work, and your position, and how you've grown through the ranks and all of that.
Well, it's always difficult for me when people ask me to do this because I always ask myself, where will I start? But for the purpose of what we are doing, my name is Chukwumoaka. I work with Nigerian Police Force Pensions Limited. It's called MPF Pensions Limited. I'm head of department, the Business Development and Relationship Management Department. I always tell people I've been in this industry for a long time. By the 1st of November this year, I'll be 20 years in the industry.
Oh, wow. 20 years.
So
that's a long time.
And the industry is about 21 years, so we are the pioneers in the industry. Yes.
Wow.
So when you talk about pension industry in Nigeria, I think there are very few of us who are still in the industry and who have been consistent.
It's actually very rare to find someone work in an office for 20 years.
Yes.
At least not even in the world of today where people don't want to work. They don't have the patience to work with you like that.
The truth is, MPF pensions is about 11 years. So we started MPF pensions.
Oh.
But the industry generally, I've moved around. I've moved. I started my career with Legacy Pension. Now it's called FCMP Pensions.
Oh, okay.
And that was many years ago. That was the 1st of November 2005.
Wow.
So 2005. Yes. Okay. By November this will be 19 years, not 20. Yes, I just remember.
19. Okay.
Yeah, 19 years. So it's been a very, very good journey, I would say. And I always speak faith whenever I'm talking, even if I'm talking a social thing or anything. I always speak the part that I know that it wasn't me that did it. When I passed out from youth service, I came into Abuja as a regular guy. And that was even before youth service. I left university, came to Abuja because there was a reason we were delayed, not because we had issues, but there were issues that happened in the organization then that, in the school then, that caused us to have our NYSC delayed. So I told myself I wouldn't want to be in Calabar.
Okay.
So I was busy doing my thing. I loved fashion, so I converted it to money-making venture. So I was doing clothing and moving about. Then, on the process of doing my clothes, I met a man who I went to sell suits. I told him 3 months ago when we met.
So, as a graduate, you were selling clothes?
Of course.
Okay.
I always tell people that if Barnes Junction were a human, it was a human being. If I'm passing, Barnes Junction will ask me, bros, you're not doing well. Because what I walked around this Abuja very well.
Wow.
I moved from nooks and crannies. I used to come with my Ghana must go. We moved around, moved very round, and I wasn't ashamed of doing that because all I didn't want to do was to ask anybody for money. And I didn't want to depend on anybody for anything. And I also to sell to this young man. His name is Kolade Afolabi. We met. He said, boy, you're smart too. How far? I told him, bros, I want to sell. So he said, okay. But we have an interview coming up. Would you want to come and join us? I said, no, it will derail my vision. He said, no, forget it. You can be doing both of them together. I'll help you. So I went for the interview. I passed. Then they said, okay. They gave us target. Target was 50,000 naira. Funny.
Really?
If you got for 50K, somebody will now give you employment letter. And guess what? I had to get my 50K from the people I sold suits to. The customers I had made while I was selling suits. So I met them. I told them, I have an offer. And one of them said, okay, fine and good. He gave me the 50K. Then another one gave me 50K. So
excess.
Yes. So I now was employed. And 3 months in the job, it was a bit difficult. And I had a colleague, Oge. Oge had someone who came to see her, and the person asked her, the best told her that there was somewhere that they are recruiting people. And it was Oge only she told. I asked Oge, how far can I go? Oge said, no, it's only for her. But I should help her. I should pray for her. I said, I go home that I prayed for Oge. And the next day, I said, how far? The next day, I said, how far? I said, Chukuma, a lot of people didn't make it, but I made it too. Wow. But they said we can tell other people. She gave me the address. Or more, I rushed to. Yeah, they said we were going to write tests. I told them, no, I'm not good with mathematics. I'm going to fail. And I was busy saying it. The secretary of the place asked me, how? Why you say? I said, if you give me this aptitude test, I will fail. But give me an interview, I will pass. And they said, no, I must write aptitude test. I said, okay. And when we wrote aptitude test, the result came. I told her, I told you I will fail. I don't know maths. And she said, there is something. Why I had to take this story is this. The first job I did only for 3 months. But it was the opener to the second job. Because when they asked us to fill our form, they said we should ask if we have experience. And I wrote that I was working with Guardian Express. So that experience counted. So what they did was, because a lot of people didn't do well in the aptitude test, so they went back to our CVs to look at the CVs of those who have experience. And that job that never paid so well became there. Because what I'm saying is, most times people tend to push aside that job thinking it's not paying them enough. So that's how my journey with the pension industry started.
Wow.
And that was why I left the clothing business. But when I came back to the pension industry, we started. And because we were pioneers, we were everywhere, we were asked to move around. Then 6 months down the line, I performed according to my then HOD, and I was transferred from Abuja to the southeast. And that came with a promotion. I was made a regional supervisor. And it was good for me because it afforded me the opportunity of going into business. But then, before the business thing, I was too dedicated to work. I was a workaholic. I gave my all and all to the work. But few years in FCMB, I left FCMB because I had a vision in my career then. I had set a target. I said, anybody that pays me higher. Because I said to myself, I was young, so I can't be doing the same thing for the same amount of money. Anybody who pays me higher, I'll go to. So when I left to the east, I got an offer from another pension fund administrator that was in town. And they gave me two times my salary, and with a car, imagine that now. I jumped in, and a year plus in that, another PFA came in, called me, doubled what these people were paying me, gave me something wonderful, and with beautiful impress and everything, and I jumped, and that was where my 1 year along the line, the banking crisis happened. And it affected them, their finances and everything, that we were all laid off.
Wow. So would you say there's a lesson to learn from the jumping around the bit?
Yes. I spoke to a couple of people recently and I told them that sometimes all that glitter is not good. I looked at the fact that I had a stable job, but I was going for money. And to be honest with you, that company that folded treated me very well. I still narrate the experience. But it was a good sign for me because at that time, I had invested in stocks, so I didn't have any savings. So the little money I used to do the stock was borrowed money. So I had to sell my stocks to pay off my debt. So I had nothing.
Wow.
So I was at ground zero.
After many years.
After years, and it was difficult. And having taken some steps, I've sat under ministers that have preached so well about life. And I knew one of the key things that was going to hinder me from becoming better was me. And I had to speak to myself. I told myself, whatever regional head you were, how many cars you were in charge of, how many branches you were in charge of, you need to put it aside. You need to survive. I already had gotten married. I had a baby. I had the baby then. And we need to provide for the family. And in order to do that, we started something. So I had a friend then who was with a bank, and he told me that he had written a proposal with one company who do bread in Enugu. I was in nowhere, and they don't have branch.
I was just about to ask about the bread story because I have that in my mind.
Yes. I told him, let me look at it. When I looked at the proposal, it was something I couldn't do. I told him, okay. I told my wife that, how do we do? My wife raised that money. I always tell people that my first capital was given to them. Because my wife also worked in the pension industry. She was the regional head there.
Okay.
So she gave me 27,000.
Wow.
So if you ask me my capital base, I'll tell you it was 27,000.
7,000.
So then they used to bring the bread halfway. They brought it halfway in Okigwe. I'll drive to Okigwe, they will load into my car. Then I came in. But then, because I had worked, I was a marketer, so I told myself, I knew how much I was earning. Then I was earning 416,000. So I asked myself, how many loaves of bread would I sell to be able to earn my salary?
Wow.
So I had my target. I told myself, if I could put the energy I had put in working for others, I could also make some money. So I started selling bread. I devised means I would do the wholesale, then I would do the retail. And the retail aspect was my wife and I would just go on the street, park on the road, open our booths, and people will be passing, will be selling bread to them. Some cases, my wife would tell me, okay, carry the baby and be in the car. She will be on the street selling the bread.
Wow.
And
That's amazing.
at the end of every month, I was making about 300,000 plus.
Wow.
And it was taking care of us. And I met a friend of mine who was a classmate, Dr. Ike. And from there, he came into IMSU. He had an agreement with IMSU. Then he asked me to join him because he had an ICT firm. So then I joined him. He told me then, Chooks, you know that we are new. He was going to give me 30K. I looked at 30K compared to what I was earning. I told him I needed to have a place I was going.
Wow.
And it was progressing and things were normalizing. And I told myself I wasn't going to work for anybody again. But one day I was heading for a meeting and I got a call from one of my bosses I worked with before. She told me there was an advert on a newspaper I should go. I told her I wouldn't want to work. She said, you must do that. I said, okay. I had to go and apply. It's a patient company too.
Okay.
And because it was something I knew very well.
I
got the job back. Then that's how my second company came. But what I did was that at that time, I told my wife, because I told her one of us must leave work.
Okay.
So if I'm going back to work, you will leave so that we'll do this business thing. Because I told myself I wasn't going to work full time depending on salary without a side business. So we started our side business. So I went for a training at LBS and he was staying in his house. And I saw one of his rooms filled with diapers. He said yes, that he used to bring it from the United States if I was interested. I said, give me all. He gave me all. And we moved it over. So we opened a shop. That's where my wife was. Then we started doing diapers. And we were doing other things. And so there was a particular woman we used to buy rice from. She came and told us that we should come and take some on credits because she believed we could. She came and saw that warehouse was empty. She supported us. Then we needed to expand. Then I started working. And I met a cousin of mine. Then that was when Tinapa was serious. Businesses were going on in Tinapa. So he actually is a clearing agent. And he told me that I could come to Tinapa and buy. He wanted to introduce me to an importer. I said, okay, let me see the importer. I went to see the importer. The importer told me that I needed to do a commitment of 5 million for him to be able to give me goods. I told him, okay. I didn't tell him no problem. I told him, yes, I was going to. I didn't have money. But there was this guy that was a friend of mine who Oceanic Bank had just let go. So they paid him money. They paid him about 5 million. I didn't know what to do with the 5 million.
Wow.
So I told him to give me part of the money. He said he was only going to release 4 million. I was going to pay him interest on monthly basis. I told him no problem. I collected the 4 million. Took the 4 million back to Calabar and showed the man that asked him to bring 5 million. He said, this is good faith. I gave him 4 million and he gave me goods worth 16 million.
Wow.
So we started. Before you know it, the man would import 3, 4, 5 container loads and push it to us.
Wow.
Before you know it, the man started importing rice and made us his sole distributor in Imo State for the rice.
Wow.
Then we moved into the other items. I don't want to give people free adverts here. So we went into noodles, we went into oil, we went into a lot of things. And before you know it, if you come to my warehouse, you ask yourself, where did this man steal money from? And I was doing that and I was working and I was supporting my wife. And each time I go, I come back and stay in the warehouse with my wife. Weekends, I spend time because I had a couple of friends who trusted me, who could also come because I was there. And sometime in 2014, we were doing the business. Things started moving, started owning our own house, investing in other places. And 2014, something happened and I came to Abuja in 2014. And we had to migrate the business to Abuja. And the business had metamorphosed into bakery, pharmaceuticals, grocery stores, and every other thing.
You know, the other day I was in Asokoro.
Okay.
I think I saw GNC.
Yes. Yes.
At MoneyWise, we help you build assets and create wealth. Our services include trainings, speaking engagements, personal coaching, financial advisory, and investment advice. Book our services today. Reach out via WhatsApp at +234 8132 602042. Sir, before you go on, it's interesting to know that you only had 27,000 at the start of this business. So, what would you say is the major financial principle that helped you to grow that amount this far? From your story, I can see that you have a good business acumen, and maybe that's part of it. But is there any other financial principle that has helped you to take 27,000 to become what it is today? Because the truth is, you have a big business now, yet you're an employee.
Discipline. The major thing was that I knew my capital, and I knew the one that is for the family. So we regulated ourselves, let me use that word. We managed ourselves to what we were using as our proceed. We didn't spend more than we were earning. At every point in time, we knew that we shouldn't deal with our capital. So we disciplined ourselves. We lived a lifestyle. It got to a point, I was a tenant in a place because I was paying cheaper. Well, I had a house somewhere else. And I didn't want people to know that I had that house. And I was in a place because it was in town and I was paying cheaper. And I told my wife, we can't live here because the rent is good. And people were thinking, why are you all still staying here? I said, we have a target. Yeah. So we must live up to that target. And I built that up. While I was in school, I was living for a church. I remember one of the messages Bishop Abiye preached. He said that when you put account of everything you want to spend, at the end of the month, aggregate it, you know which one is making you move out. So I used to write everything I spend. And sometimes when I bring my book, I'll laugh. And I'll ask myself, how was I able to? But I did not live above my means. Remember, I had a background already. Yeah. Already I had 2 cars. Because of the work I had done in the past. So I had 2 cars, so I wasn't under pressure for that. But at every point in time, I made sure we didn't live above our means. We maintained that amount of money, and we didn't put ourselves in things that you couldn't find me using phones that are not within the categories of phone. I don't get moved by what you have. I limited myself to what my income could give, but I was also making effort to see that other monies could come. And another thing that worked for us is when you have good character, people could trust you easily, and that was how we were able to get.
So by character, do you mean integrity with money?
Yes, with money, because
I wanted to truth, that
integrity with money, because everybody that gave me goods, I paid. I did make sure that it has become part and parcel of me. So I always tell people that you could worth 1 billion when you have integrity. Every person that gave me goods, I paid back. The person I collected 4 million from, when he needed his money, I paid him, and there was no day I defaulted in paying him his.
So you've shared so much with us today on how employees can channel the resources they get to create wealth for themselves and become rich while they're employed. So I think for me, one of the major points is the intentionality with their income, being deliberate, and even not just with the income, but with opportunities around them. That ability to see opportunities and take them, to channel resources towards them. We emphasized also the need for employees to make sure that they're not just paying people, they're also getting paid from different sources as much as they can create. I mean, there was a time I was reading and it was found that millionaires have at least 7 sources of income. That's millionaires in dollars.
That's true.
They have at least 7 sources of income. And of course, the ultra rich people have hundreds of sources of income. So the truth of the matter, your salary can't be enough, because there's a level to which your employer can pay you.
Of course.
But your cost of living is rising. Even when you're a very frugal person, everything has gone up. So how do you then make up for that gap? That's exactly what you shared with us a lot today. So, sir, on a final note, I would like to know a few things about you, our guest. So, we'd like you to just share with us some of the things that um, we may not really know about you that are tied, of course, that are principles that will help employees become rich.
Okay. Yeah, because there's social media thing, I'm going to be very blunt because people are going to come out, and I'm not going to hide it. I'm a very prayerful person. Most people don't know that. They think life is all about things like that. I am a very prayerful person. And I do some of those things that people don't like. I sow seed a lot. I believe in seed sowing. And I believe it has helped me in diverse ways. And I don't care what people want to talk about it. I've also read. I read a lot.
I think that's one of the things you taught me.
I see opportunities, and most of my friends, if you ask them to speak about me, they'll tell you that I am one person who sees opportunity where others don't see
it.
And I can do anything positive for money. I push aside pride when it has to do with making legitimate income. I don't care my office. For as long as I'm going to serve you and you're going to pay me, I put aside my office and do that work because it is legitimate. Then I'm very social, but most people don't know that I'm shy. I'm an extreme shy person.
Honestly,
yes.
I always have this argument with my husband about being shy and then very vocal and social. It doesn't go with what we know about being shy.
Truth is, I get, except I'm very comfortable with it. So many people think I'm snobbish. I'm not. When I'm not comfortable around you, I don't unleash myself. I only unleash when I'm very comfortable with you.
Wow.
So I always love to manage my space. And I always also believe that integrity is the watchword. I hate to cheat people. I don't like to be cheated. I believe that integrity is the watchword. When you have, let your A be your A. I try as much as possible to allow my A be my A in transactions, business transactions. If I tell you I'm going to pay you on Wednesday, I'm going to make every effort to make sure I pay you on that Wednesday. If it is not possible, I'll let you know before the time expires that I'm not going to be able to do it. I love to win confidence of people, and I've done that in many ways. And because of that, a lot of people have trusted me, so I can call for products. And they will say, okay, it's because it's you. We know. When are you paying us? If I start paying so and so day, they'll say release. Because they know I would pay. When people know that you will not fail on your word, you have access. I have a lot of big and rich people who are my business associates. And I got to know them just doing business with them. And they've allowed me access to their homes because we have interacted and transacted, and they know they can trust me.
Trust you.
And that is it. I'm a very family-oriented person. Highly family-oriented.
I like the fact that you highlighted how you and your wife work with integrity in terms of money as a family, because that's another area where a lot of
if you see us try to reconcile money, you think we are enemies. She's an accountant, so she will always want you to explain every kobo. And when they begin to probe you like that, you want to say, I'm your husband. She wants you to be accountable, and it has helped. You understand? And also, these days, our children, they're accountable to every kobo that we give to them to spend. So it helps us also. I'm extremely a family-oriented person.
Unlock your financial freedom today. Join the MoneyWise community for free financial coaching. Gain expert guidance, exclusive resources, and 24/7 support. Connect with like-minded individuals and enjoy personalized coaching sessions. Visit the MoneyWise community platform to start your journey to financial freedom today. So it seems you're forgetting the perfume end.
No, I'm coming there, and I have one. How do they call it? There's one word I was trying to remember. My vanity.
Oh, okay.
My vanities are
because
shoes.
Everybody likes that.
Shoes and perfumes. And
I see.
I'm sorry to say this. I have a lot of perfumes. That's where my vanity is. Everybody has their own vanity.
Yeah.
The perfume thing started while I was in school. I started making money from perfume while I was in school. I remember back in the days, my final year, then I was living the life. And I had a friend, Babatunde, I would call him Babs. Babs was shy. No, Babs had money. He was afraid to use his money. 20K then. He told me, choose, I have 20K. What did I use 20K do? I said, okay. I had a circle of friends then who were the then big boys in school. So I told Babs, okay, we can do business. Give me your 20K. Then I'll be giving you interest on your 20K. He said, no problem. Babs gave me 20K. I used the 20K and went to Aba, bought several kinds of perfume. And you know this perfume, if you like Calvin Klein, you will like this. If you like Ralph Lauren, you will like this. I bought all those designer copies and I brought them back. You know the irony of it. Babs is very vocal. He can sell. So I brought them back and I gave to Babs. Babs was selling for me.
For you.
And he will bring it to my friends. And I'll tell my friends, I'm buying this perfume from this guy. My friends didn't know that the perfume they were buying from Babs was for me.
Was for you.
And Babs was selling that. And at the end, I made him turn over his money. Yeah, he was making money for me also. So it's been something I picked from my father. My late father was a person that loved to use perfume. So
it's not about not having fun, not getting the things that you like. It's about being intentional and designing that this is what I want.
And anything you make up your mind for, if you save for it, it will come.
Yeah.
Like my pastor will always say, if you jump up, you come down. If you grow up, you stay up.
You will stay there.
Everything. I once told someone that God knows my heart. And almost everything I've asked and I've admired, including cars, they've always come my way easily. Because I have never rushed to them. But I plan for them. When you plan for things, they will come.
I think the part of the problem is that ability to wait.
Delayed gratification.
It's a problem.
It is a very key thing, especially salary earners. Learn to hold back a bit.
Yeah.
Delayed gratification. You're not in competition. As long as you know you're not in competition with anybody. Because of how tough things are now, a lot of people don't have money to throw away. So even uncles that used to give money may not be able to give it out. So people are working hard to make money. So look within that thing. A lot of people have intellectual capacities that they can use and convert to money. When people ask you to do proposals for them, tell them, bro, this is my own. I cannot do it. You have to pay me.
Again, Mr. Jimovia did proposal writing for many people before going for a back.
Of course.
Getting a job in the bank.
Come to you. You know, you have that intellectual strength. Bro, it will cost you so and so amount of money. But don't be too greedy. If you know how to organize resume. Put yourself up. I'm not saying, when I speak to youth about social media, they often find themselves in the wrong social media handle. So anything you want to do, social media, lifestyle, everything be intentional. Intentionality will help you. The kind of friends you choose, the place you worship, the kind of food you eat, intentional.
So on a final note, can an employee become rich?
No. If you actually want to be if you want to classify yourself as a rich person, not a comfortable person, you must have other sources of income.
But
and I stand to be challenged.
Do you think that the income that they make currently can be the channel to create those other sources?
Yeah, it depends on how they are able to plan.
Yeah.
If I didn't tell somebody I started business with 27,000, they might not believe it.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself, you want to go into business. What is that business you want to go for? And what is required? Some people would come and tell me they want loan to start business. That's a failure already. Except you have a guarantee that thing you're using that loan to do, there are off-takers that will give you back your money. But when you have some things you want to start with your salary, and you want to put that salary to it, and you put your dedication to it, you have to test run it before you know how much of your money you put in it. If you consistently try it and it's giving you can now scale it up. So it depends on what you earn as salary. It could be a starting point, but it might not give you all that you need. 27,000 didn't give us everything. I got to a point I had to collect 4 million from someone, but I had tested my water. If you have not tested your water, don't go collect money from people to use. You might end up putting yourself in high debt.
So bottom line, start with what you have.
Experiment with yourself.
From the salary you earn. and then grow it
Grow
from there.
grow it. When you would have tested the waters, you would have been able to know that if you scale it up, this is it. But if you jump into it, you might get. And I tell people that the best time, and this is from the point of a pension manager, the best time to try anything is while you are at work. Most times people retire and use your gratuity and their pension to start business, and that's the highest level of risk.
Yes.
Because whatever you lose at that point is the end of you.
Yes, that's it.
But when you are working and you are trying things, even if you fail, because you are sure of your salary is coming, you can augment, you can sustain yourself until you would have tested it. And do not put your two hands in your mouth at the same time. Test gradually. Test the waters. And because people are saying that ABC is giving money, you're jumping into it. Do things that you have knowledge about. I tread from my comfort zone. So that when you come to me, I'll be able to let you know I can handle that. I don't tread on areas I don't know too well. Because somebody was trying to tell me this business will give you this amount of money. I said, every other business can give me money. I tread from what I have control about. And if I can't have more information on if I'm not so rooted in it, I may not be able to go in it. Because I don't want to hear stories that touch the heart.
Okay, sir. So, you believe that an employee can't just be employed and rich, except they channel their resources into what they are supposed to. Other sources of income that can now create the kind of wealth.
Of course.
That we can classify them as rich.
And with intentional discipline.
With intention.
Because some people might be making that money and they'll be also spending it. So, what comes to you is not as important as what you are able to save.
To retain.
Because what you retain is what defines you, not how much you get. You can get $1 billion and still spend that $1 billion.
Yes.
But if you're able to retain some, it could be that. And you'll be looking towards becoming what you want to become.
Wow. It's been an amazing time speaking with you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
I've learned tons of principles that I'm sure as you're watching, you've been seeing the highlighted principles at the bottom of the screen. As an employee, you can become rich if you use the income that you earn properly. If you don't learn these principles and apply them, you're just going to stay employed, and then riches become like an impossible thing to reach. So I want to encourage you on the workplace, on this episode of the workplace, to take these principles back home and begin to work with them. Thank you so much for your time. We're so grateful to have you on the workplace. Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Bye.
Thank you. All right.